Good morning. Today we're going to look at solving equations with variables on both sides. I'm going to give you 6 steps or guidelines for solving equations with variables on both sides. Please write down these 6 steps. The first one is use distributive property to remove all parentheses. If there's any parentheses in the problem and there's a number in front, multiply using the distributive property to remove the parentheses from the problem. After the parentheses are removed, step 2 is to combine like terms on the left side of equals. If there are any numbers or variables that can be combined together, either added or subtracted on the left side, they should be done at this point. The third step is to combine all like terms then on the right side of equals. If there are any numbers or variables on the right side of equals, they should be combined together, either added or subtracted in the third step. After the parentheses in step 1 and the like terms are combined in steps 2 and 3, the fourth step would be to eliminate the smaller variable. So we're going to look to see which variable has a smaller coefficient, the number in front, and then we will add or subtract the variable. If the smaller variable is positive, we'll subtract. If the smaller variable is a negative, then we'll add to eliminate that variable. The fifth step is to remove any constants. That's the number that does not have a letter next to it. And we're working on the side with the variable. So where the variable is, if there is a number by itself, you will add or subtract to remove that constant. And the sixth and final step is to multiply or divide to remove the number in front of or under the variable. And that's usually your last step, to multiply or divide. Now, these are not hard rules, they're guidelines. Every problem is different, but 95% of the problems can be solved using these 6 steps. Not all of the steps will be used in each problem. Some of the problems you can skip several steps because they don't really apply. But if you follow these 6 guidelines, you should be able to solve almost any equation. So I'll give you a minute to finish copying down all of the steps if you haven't already. And I'll refer to these steps as we do some examples here in just a minute. Twenty seconds remaining. 20 seconds. Now we're going to move on to the next slide. Okay, here's the first example. 8 plus 5s equals 7s minus 2. Please write this example down. We're going to work this problem together. If you notice, if we refer back to our steps, step 1 was to eliminate parentheses. Do you see any parentheses in this problem? That's right, there are no parentheses in this problem. So we'll move on to step 2. In step 2, is there anything to be combined on the left side? This is the left side. Can you combine the 8 or the 5s? No, you cannot. So we'll move on to step 3. Step 3 says combine like terms on the right side, over here in green. Can you combine the 5s or the minus 2? That's right, you cannot. So we'll skip now to the 4th step. You can see sometimes these steps don't apply to some problems. So we'll go immediately to step 4. Eliminate the smaller variable. Which variable is smaller, 5s or 7s? That's correct. The 5s is smaller, and we'll eliminate 5s by adding or subtracting. Very good. We're going to subtract the 5s because the 5s is positive. So the 5s on the left cancels out, leaving you only with 8. On the right, 7 minus 5 is good, 2s. And then bring down the minus 2. So step 4 is now complete. Now step 5 says eliminate the constant on the side with the variable. Which side is the variable on? Very good, the right side. Now what is the constant on the right side? That's right, the negative 2. And what will cancel out a negative 2? Excellent, a plus 2 on both sides. Now 8 plus 2 makes 10. And so 10 equals 2s. And step 5 is now complete. The 6th and final step is to get rid of the coefficient, the number in front of the s, and we'll eliminate the 2 by, that's right, dividing by 2. And 10 divided by 2 equals 5. So 5 is equal to s. Notice that the s should be written first and then equals 5. I had to reverse it because the variable always goes first. So put your variable first and s equals 5. Now I'll give you 1 minute to solve B by yourself. 20 seconds remaining. 20 seconds. Need a little more time? Okay, 30 more seconds. All right, B. Who wants to tell me what the first thing you do in part B is? Good. You have to eliminate the smaller variable. Steps 1, 2, and 3 do not apply on this problem either. So the smaller variable is? Right, 5C. 5 is less than 20. And since the 5C is positive, we will subtract the 5C. 20C minus 5 is 15C. All right, the next step, good. Subtract 5 from both sides. That's the constant. 15C will be 65 minus 5, which is 60. And the final step, good. Divide by 15. And what does the answer equal? Excellent. 4. 4. All right, I'll give you a few more seconds to correct this on your paper if you didn't have it right. And then we'll move on to the next slide in about 15 seconds. All right, next slide. Okay, I added some parentheses to this problem, so we're going to have to go back and do step 1. Please write down the example so we can do the first one together. Okay, so when we have a parentheses and a number in front, we're going to do what property? Good, the distributive property. Now, does anyone know how to distribute a fraction when there is a number 1 on top of the fraction? There's a number 1 on top. If you said all you have to do is divide by the denominator, you are correct. A shortcut with a fraction in front of a parenthesis when there is a 1 on top is to ignore the 1 and take the bottom number and divide by 3 on both numbers. Divide by 3. So 18 divided by 3, good, is 6. And 12 divided by 3, good, is 4. Now, if you didn't get that, again, multiplying by 1, the part in yellow, will not change the 18 or the 12. So we can forget about the 1 and just do what the denominator says. And remember, denominators divide. So take the 3 and divide both 18 and 12. That's a shortcut when there's a 1 on top of the fraction. Now let's go to the other side of the fraction. 6 times 2, 12q. Very good. And 6 times -7, -42. Good. So step 1 is now complete. We have eliminated the parentheses. Step 2, look for like terms. Do you see any? No. And step 3, look for like terms on the other side. Anything? No again. So we're going to go straight to step 4, eliminating the smaller variable. The smaller variable is, you guessed it, 4q. And we're going to subtract the 4q because the 4 is positive in front with a plus sign. So the 4q's cancel out, leaving 6 on the left. And 12 minus 4q makes, that's right, 8q. And then your minus 42 comes down. Now we're looking at step 5, the constant. What is the constant? If you guessed 42, that's correct. And how do we get rid of a minus 42? That's right, add 42. Always do the inverse or opposite operation. Now 6 and 42 make, good, 48. And that only leaves one more step to go. And the final step is, good, divide. Divide by 8. Now don't forget to put your Q first. Q equals 48 divided by 8. Very good. 6. 6. All right, let's take a look at B, which is the problem that you're going to do. I even took the fractions out. So now I will give you exactly 2 minutes to solve B. 2 minutes to solve B. Write it down and solve. You should be halfway done. 1 minute has passed. 1 minute remaining. All right, B. So we're going to start with the distributive property. 4 times 4 makes, that's right, 16. 4 times minus W, good, minus 4W. Now we'll move on to the second parentheses. 3 times 2W, good, 6W. And 3 times 2, excellent, 6. There's no like terms, so you should have skipped steps 2 and 3. We'll move on to steps 4. Eliminate the smaller variable. Which variable is smaller? That's right, negative 4. Negative 4. And you should eliminate negative 4 with a plus 4. That leaves you with 16 on the left 6 plus 4w makes 10w plus 6. Now we're looking for that constant. It's the number 6. That's right. And how do you eliminate plus 6? With a minus 6. Good. 16 minus 6 makes 10 equals 10w, and then you just got one thing left. That's right, divide. So divide by 10, and 10 divided by 10 makes 1. Don't forget the w goes first. So w equals 1. Go ahead and finish copying that down if you didn't have it right, and we'll skip to the next slide in about 15 seconds. All right, next slide. Okay, we've got 8 parentheses times the parentheses 5c minus 2 equals 10 times the quantity. If you remember, quantity is the word for parentheses. 32 plus 4c. We're going to work this one together first. So please write it down. And now we're going to look for the first step, distributive property. 8 times 5c. Good job. 40c. 8 times minus 2. Good. Minus 16. Now for the other side of the equals, 10 times 32. Good. That's right. Just add a 0. Make it 320. And 10 times 4c. Good. 40c. There's no like terms on the left or the right. So we'll move on to eliminating a smaller variable. If you think they're both the same, they are. And that won't make a difference. We're still going to subtract 40c. Because 40 is the smallest, even though they're the same. 40 minus 40 is 0. 40 minus 40 is 0. And you get negative 16 equals 320. There's no variable left in this problem. Now you have to look at what you have. Are the two numbers equal? Of course they're not equal. One's even negative. Negative 16 does not equal 320. So that means the answer is... That's right. No solution. There isn't an answer to this problem. There's no variable to get. There's no answer to get. There's not a number that works for this problem. It is unsolvable. No solution. All right, so now let's look at B. We're going to do B together also again. We're going to do B again. Go ahead and write it down. And this thing right here, that is 1 over 5. I don't like the way it came out typed up, but that is 1/5. 1/5. So we're going to multiply the 4 times the t. 4 times t makes, very good, 4t. And 4 times 20 makes, you guessed it, 20. 80. 4 times 20 makes 80. Now, do you remember that trick I showed you for multiplying by a fraction with a 1 on top? That's right. Don't worry about the 1. Instead, take the 5 and, that's right, divide. Divide both numbers by 5. So what's 20t divided by 5? Good, 40. And what's 400 divided by 5? Good, 80. Now, what do you notice about both sides of this equation? They're the same. That's right. They're exactly the same. The 4t and the 80 are both the same. The 4t plus 80 and the 4t plus 80 are exactly the same. Now, this is the opposite of no solution. In no solution, the two numbers were completely different. In this example, they're completely the same. So I have 3 different options for what you can write down. The shortest answer you can write down is called identity. They're both exactly the same, so it's the identity. If you don't want to write down identity, feel free to write down infinitely many, because that's how many solutions there are to this problem. Infinite solutions. There are infinitely many solutions to this problem. There's not one, there's not no, there's infinitely many. And if that's not enough options, you could write down a third option, which is the infinity symbol, the 8 on its side, solutions. You can write infinite solutions with the infinity symbol. All 3 of these choices are acceptable when the problem is exactly the same on both sides. You don't have to write all 3, just one of them. All right, we're going to do our last slide coming up. There's 2 problems here. I'd like you to take time to work out both of them. One of them is no solution, and the other one is the identity. It is your job to figure out which one is which. We're going to flip now. All right, so please do C and D. One of them is the identity, the other one is no solutions. Since you now have 2 problems to solve, I will give you 3 minutes to solve these 2. A minute and a half has passed. You have 1.5 minutes remaining. 30 seconds. All right, let's take a look at C. Go back to our steps. Number 1, use distributive property. 5 times h. That's right, 5h. 5 times -2. Good. -10. Don't forget to bring down your +3 and your 5h minus 7. So we did step 1. Now step 2. Anything like terms on the left? No, but we do have like terms on the right side. Step 3. Look here. Like terms. Like terms. What is -10 plus 3? You guessed it, -7. So I have 5h minus 7 equals 5h minus 7. Huh, they're both the same. I guess the answer is, that's right, identity. Identity. Now let's look at D. Distributive property. -4. Don't forget about that little negative sign right there. It goes with the 4. -4 times 2, -8. And -4 times r, -4r. Now bring down your r, your equal sign, and your 7 minus 3r. Now let's look for like terms. On the left, nope, not again. But on the right, we have like terms. R minus 4r. R and minus 4r. How much is r minus 4r? Don't forget there's a 1 there. Sometimes we don't write it, but it's there. 1 minus 4 makes, that's right, -3r. Bring down your 8, bring down your 7 minus 3r, and your equal sign. Now we get rid of our variable. Add 3r to both sides. 3r's are gone. Huh. So 7 equals -8. Those two numbers aren't the same. So we write, that's right, no solution. No solution. All right, so this concludes the lesson on 2.4. 2.4. Please refer to your calendar. Remember, you can print one off of School Fusion if you don't have one. Refer to your calendar for the homework. And the next time, I think we might have a quiz. Look on your calendar for when the next quiz is. Okay? And that's it for lesson 2.4. If you have any questions, you can see me when I return or stay after school. Thank you.